All right. So this is I couldn't have gotten you a almost literal sea of numbers if I tried. I mean, I feel like you could actually probably drown in this. Um, but anyway, I know this looks like craziness, and it is craziness. But I think we'll probably, hopefully, we'll make sense of it. I mean, look at this. Look how much stuff there is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm looking for. Um, I think if we start with what we're looking for, then when I show you how to get to it, it'll make a little bit more sense. Really quickly before I keep going, let me just make sure that this is streaming the right thing. It is. Hooray. Okay, back to Excel. Okay, so actual data. Let me start. Yeah, let me jump back. Where I want to start with a picture, if possible. If you, when you're watching this, go ahead. Feel free to um, jump ahead in this part where I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in. Like I can't draw in Excel, which makes sense. Anyway, if you imagine what we're getting is one phrase, one musical phrase. And let's say that the fundamental frequency of that musical phrase goes whoa, 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 like that. And that's singing. So now, if we want to look at, say, the drum, um, it might do the same thing if you look at the phrase by itself. Doom, 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 like that. But if you overlay the two, you might have it go doom, 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 like that. And so if we try to correlate these without correcting for the offset, what we have is a high value here and a low value here, high here, low here, high, low, high, low, high, middle, and high, middle again, right? So the correlation will come out maybe negative, or zero, close to zero. Definitely not what we want, especially and see that yeah, these are totally correlated. They're just not in the same time signature. So one fix would be let's just cut off both of them where the shortest one ends. Well, that doesn't really fix anything because we've still got these periods where the fundamental frequency is high in one and low in the other. So that doesn't really fix anything. What we actually need to do is go through and take out little areas. So we need to look at how much this is overshooting and take out this amount of time evenly spaced throughout the entire blue graph. So that means instead of chopping all of that off, what we would do is take out this observation, take out this observation, and this one, and this one. And so that when you're done, what you end up with is two pretty in sync contours. That's basically what we're trying to do. So let me get rid of that paint. So here are the values but this is what I've pulled from. So we've got fundamental frequency. This is on the actual like vocal song. So we've got fundamental frequency, we've got intensity, and we've got the format frequencies for the first 4 formats. Now over here, this is the fundamental frequency and intensity for the drum that matches that sang portion. Now, this is where we have the treble come in. So if I zoom out so you can see all this, come down here, and okay. Luckily, I don't know how this happened because this is not usual, but the fundamental frequency and intensity for the drum actually ended at the same place. But if we compare it to the length of our observations of the singing, you can see that if you follow this over to here, that's not the end for any of the stuff that we pulled from singing. It's close for intensity, next is fundamental frequency, and the formats are all the way down here. So you can see that we're going to have to do a lot of work to get these to match up with each other. Here in this middle portion. So how do we do this? Well, what you do is you have to find how many cells, or the length of the shortest observation, I should say. So if you highlight the shortest observation that you have, there we go, and then look down here, it's 100, look right here, it's 129 cells long. Okay, and we're in 130. So then what we want to do is see how much longer are each of these. So this is 10 cells longer. What I've done here is you can see 129 by 10. So I took the cells that this observation is longer than the shortest observation and divided it by the number of cells in the shortest observation. What that's giving us is how many do we need to pull out of this longer observation. So we're going to 12.9 rounds to 13, of course. So we're going to leave 13 and we're going to pull out the 14th observation. And we're going to leave 13 and pull out the 14th. If we come over here to fundamental frequency, here's the first blank, the drum stuff, which is right here. Here we've got 22. So this is going to be 129 divided by 22, which is 5.8, rounds to 6. So you're going to leave 6 observations, remove the 7th. Leave 6, remove the 7th. And here's the format frequencies, which is always going to have a lot. And you can see that there are 122 extras. So it's 129 divided by 122. That's basically 1 every other observation. Leave an observation, remove an observation. So how do we do all this? Well, we have to create number lines for each one. So you can see that what we've done is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's where we have 1 that comes out. So we're leaving 6 and we're removing the 7th observation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I turn it into a formula. So right here, instead of just typing 8 and, going through and typing this entire string of numbers, I say J2 plus 7. So when you get to the one that you want to remove, which in this case is 7. Why is it 7? Because here it rounded to 6. Remove the next one. Okay, so we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to keep 6. We're going to remove the next one. So when you get to the one that you want to remove, what you want to do is use this formula, equals J2, which is this first number, plus the number that you're removing. So it's just going to make it 8, right? Because J2 is 1, you're adding the number that you're removing, and you get 8. And so then what you can do is, you can grab this little fill handle here and drag all the way down to fill that in. And I've already done it, but this is what you'll end up with. And you can see that the formula propagates, all the way down. 166 is J138 plus 7. So this is going to come all the way down. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. So we are removing every 7th observation. Cool. Very cool. We've got a similar thing going on right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then we're missing 15. This is where we want the jump. So just like in the neighboring column, the number that I'm removing, which in this case is 15. And here, this is when we're removing every other observation. I put in a 1 and then immediately go to the formula, which is L2 plus 2, because the number I'm removing is 2. So L2 plus 2, then that gives us 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay, cool, great. So what this is going to do is, it's going to, we're going to use an indirect reference, an indirect Excel reference, to use these numbers instead of these numbers over here. So that allows us to ones that we don't want to see. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. So here, that's just what's going to happen. And because I've started at 1 and my data starts at 2, we're going to have to add a 1 in, but that's not really that big of a deal. And if that is a point of, if you get tripped up with that just because you're getting in a zone and you're working through it, that's okay. You can delete these top columns if you want. I like to leave them because it's a good reference to see like what I'm actually working with, fundamental frequency, intensity, and the form. You'll see that no matter where you're looking and the four formats, that's for the singing, the vocal singing. Over here we've got the drum that goes along with it, fundamental frequency, intensity. So the order is the same everywhere. If you want to get rid of the headings, that's okay. Okay, so what's going on with this indirect? Well, what we do is and then in parentheses we put B, because we want it to reference cell or column B. That's where fundamental frequency is, so we always want it to be in column B. To get it to do that when you're using an indirect reference, you have to put it in quotations. So we're indirectly referencing B, and then I've got 2 plus 1. I've got the plus 1 in there just to like shift these numbers up because I've got this blank spot in here. I think most confusing part about understanding why I've added this additional thing. But if you get it and you do yours the same way, it'll be just fine. Okay, so here's this indirect reference. It's going to pull from B and then J2 plus 1. So what's J2? It's 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we've got it pulling from B2. So come over here. B2 is 116.986, and it just so happens that this indirect reference gives us 116.986. Cool. So where do we start having something that's not the same as over here? So at 6, here's 6. We haven't skipped. The indirect reference is B and J7 plus 1. J7 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So in B7, we've got 145.351. That's what we have here. And now we're going to jump one. So B and then J8 plus 1. J8 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So we're looking for B9. Well, if we come over here, we were following it across before. We see that if we follow it across, it's 154.365. Our cell's getting is 157.241, so they're not the same. It should be, right? B9, 241. Hey, holy shit. 150. Cool. And what it's going to do is just drop some of these as it goes down. We've got the same thing in intensity. We've got an indirect argument, indirect cell reference, I should say. And here, instead of B, we're looking at D, because D is where intensity is. And we're using a different number line. We're using the K. And then the same story is true for all of these format frequencies as well. We're referencing column F, and we're using the L number line for all of the format frequencies. Is what column are we looking at? So we scroll down. What you'll notice is these lines of data end way before their counterparts over here, which is exactly what we want. So here we've got fundamental frequency, intensity, format frequencies. And here we've got the end. Over here, this is fundamental frequency and intensity for the drum. Now we can, just ignore one observation. That's okay. Or here we have to ignore 3, but that's okay. 3 isn't that much. 1 is nothing. That's totally cool. Now we can actually do some correlations too. Between U2 through U130, which is this column right here, that's the to now shifted, or shrunken, I guess I should say, version of fundamental frequency from the song, right here, and that correlates to 0.41. That's not too bad. And here's intensity, the same thing, column W and column N. And you can see too shabby. Very good, actually. Song portion that we have. There are multiple phrases in one song portion. Here's one phrase. Here's another phrase. And they've all got different time dilation between the two. So you have to do this for each independent musical phrase. The only thing I can say that is good is I've already pulled all of these different musical phrases. I've got the gaps between the two removed, so you don't have to do that. All you have to do is try to equate the timing of the two, which is what we just took a look at. So here's another phrase. Here's all the data that I pulled. Here's new number lines I've created. Here's the new shortened version of the data. And then there are correlations further down as well. Here's another musical phrase and another musical phrase, and it looks like there were only 4 in that one. About an hour per song. And that probably will be the same for you. There's going to be 10 hours of work in this one sheet, I would say. Although I've done this one, so maybe not. Maybe it's closer to 9. I've also done most of 2, so maybe there's 8 hours of work in here. The terrible thing is that when you think about how many we have to do, this is one performer. We've got 3 performers, so that's 30 hours. And then we've actually got, we want to do this for the speech as well, so that's 60 hours. And we also have, we could be looking at 80 hours, possibly, of work just to do this. So, anyway, it's okay. We get done what we get done. And hopefully we get this sheet done. Okay, so now we're in 2. And I'm going to do step by step, going along and doing one of these musical phrases. So this one I've done. So this is one we're actually going to have to work on, essentially together, sort of. I will give this to you without this one done. So I will do it, and then I will like undo the changes that I've made. Oh, my battery's dying. This is gonna be a horrible live stream. Um, where's my fucking? There we go. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying with you, sort of asynchronously with you, and then I'm gonna undo what I did so that you can, like play along with the at-home game and get a feel for what we're doing. And then probably, hopefully, you'll be good to go after that. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is find out which of these is the shortest. We've got fundamental frequency, intensity, and 4 format frequencies from the song, and fundamental frequency and intensity from the drum. Which of these is shortest? Because that's going to have to be our reference. We found it. It's right here. It's the intensity for the drum. Well, how long is this? It's probably 141 cells because we're at 142, and the first one is headings. So you can just kind of do that in your head. We're at 142, remove 1 for headings, then you have 141. Since it's the first one we're doing, let's just double check. So we've highlighted everything, and down here at the bottom where it says count, we have 141. So cool. The formula works. So 141 is like our reference number of cells, right? This is how long we need to make all of these other observations. Okay, so how many extra observations do we have right here? Well, we've got, this undefined one, that can be deleted because it's undefined. It's not going to do anything for us anyway. All right, so how many extra do we have? We have 8. 8 extra right here. So what is 141 divided by 8? It is 18. So this means we need to remove every 19th observation. And then we'll have both of these equated. Cool. Over here, let's track this over right here. We have 7 equals 141 divided by 7, 20. Every 21st observation needs to be removed. Okay, so let's do this for this one here. Well, we can delete this undefined at the bottom again. So I'm only going to count down to the one above, the one that actually has a number in it. 16. 141 divided by 16 is 9. So every 10th observation needs to be deleted. And finally, our format frequencies. Sometimes these get a little weird. I'll show you what I mean. 111. So 141 divided by 111. Well, that's like 1.2. So it's almost like removing every other observation, but not quite. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to remove every 3 observations, every 3rd observation, and then we're going to have to redo the removal algorithm. Sometimes that happens. It happens a lot of times. Format frequencies. It's a pain, but hopefully it's worth it. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 for all these, and 4 different number lines that we need to create. It's a lot of number lines. I'm going to add some cells in here. You can add cells wherever you want. Hey, you know what's cool about sheet 2? It looks like I've done all the phrases except for... Oh, 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 shoot. I skipped over one. Sorry about that. So we're doing one that... Well, I feel bad about that. Oh, we're not doing one that I skipped over. What's going on here? Okay, there's 3, and we're just not working on this last one. I see. Okay. Never mind me. What? I already started on, but didn't finish. Okay, sorry. Sorry. So here we are, back at this last one here. I don't need to add any cells because it's our last one, so we'll just use those extra cells. So the first thing we need to do, sometimes you could use a sheet of paper to write this down. Sometimes that helps me, but so 9, 20, 2. I'm going to say this one is a 2. 9, 20, 2, and 18. 9, 22, and 18. Okay. So those are the number lines we're going to create. We remove every 10th, 21st, 3rd, and 19th. So now we just start making numbers. Two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. And then instead of typing 10, we're going to say equals cell CP2 plus the number that we're removing, which is 10. Okay. So now fill handle down to the bottom. So you want to fill handle down to the end of the longest observation, which is always probably going to be. Now that's the only time you have to pull this all the way down. From here on in, there's a trick that goes a little bit quicker. So here we want to do 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to fill handle this all the way down to 20. There we go. And then instead of 21 equals this top one plus 21. Now we've got 22. Okay, so here's the trick. Instead of pulling the fill handle down, and it populates all the way down for you. It'll go as far down as the one to the left of it. So you know that it's going the right length because you pulled the first one down yourself. Okay, here, 1, 2 equals plus 3. And then you can always check these if you want. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 12, 13, 14. Ugh, I can't even count. Okay. 2, 3. Goes down to 18. And then instead we're going to go this one plus 19. Great. Click on it. Double click the fill handle. And now we've got all of our number lines. Now it's time to do our indirect references. So I like to put up here what it is so I don't get confused. This is going to be fundamental frequency. This is going to be intensity. This is format 1, format 2, format 3, format 4, and lastly, the fundamental frequency for the drum. We have to equate all of those. Okay. So indirect, put in parentheses the column that we want to reference. So if it's fundamental frequency for the singing, it's CB. So in our parentheses, we want to say CB, and then parentheses, and then an ampersand. And now we just have to tell it what number line we're looking at. We're going to want the number line in CP. So we're going to say CP2. But CP2 is 1. All of my observations start at 2, so this is why we have to add in the plus 1. And since I have this mathematical inside of this area, I like to put parentheses around it just to keep it by itself. So CP2 plus 1 is in parentheses. And this will be whatever you use. CQ plus 1, CQ2 plus 1, CR2 plus 1. You'll see that as we go through. So we're going to push enter. It says undefined. And so the very first one in my frequency should be undefined. And look, it is. Hooray. Okay. Next, we're going to do intensity. But there's a little bit of a trick. So if you come up here and highlight what's in and copy it, and then hit enter, you can paste that exact formula into the next thing. Now, what I don't want you to do is click here and then control copy, because that's going to paste just the formula and it's going to move everything over. So instead of CP2, you're going to be using CQ2, which in this case is okay, because you do want to move it over to CQ. But if you do that when you do the format frequencies, then it's going to go CR, and then CS, and then CT, and then CU. So I like to copy up here the formula, and then I know that I'm copying exactly the same thing. You can see here, whoa! You can see that the formula that I pasted in here is CP2. It is an exact carbon copy of the one next to it. And that's because I copied from up here and not right here. Okay, so what we need to do now is we're pulling from a different column, because we're doing intensity, which is CD. So inside the parentheses, that needs to change to CD. And we are pulling from the number column of CQ. So CQ 2 plus 1. Okay. Another copy. Another paste. Here we're doing CF. Column CF is where the original values are coming from. So we're going to put CF there. And the number line we're using this time is CR. Okay. Well, now we have a little bit of an easy spot in front of us. We're going to copy this formula. And we're using the same number line for all these. So paste, 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 and we can paste our last. So for all these, all we need to do is change CF to the next column in line for the fundamental frequencies. F goes to G. And then H. And then I. Let's just double check that that's right. F, G, H, I. Great. And the last one we needed to change was the fundamental frequency for the drum, which is in column CL, and it's going to use the CS number line. So we're going to change this to CL, and we're going to change this number line to CS. Okay, so now you might be wondering, why have we only done one of all these? Because now we can click on all these, double click the fill handle, automatically populates. And let's see how our length is. Excellent. Excellent. So here's our shortest one. The fundamental frequency is 1 length, and this fundamental frequency is 1 measly observation longer. So we are in totally good business. Let's do some correlations really quickly, just to CORREL. We're going to burn that last one because we want to be the same length all the way across. So we're going to go 142 up to 2. Which of course those are undefined, but that's okay. We're going to do comma, and we're now looking at column CZ, so I can just type in 142. Hey, that wow, 0.9. Amazing. That's great. That's great. Let's look at the intensity as well. CORREL. Whoops. Whoops. We're doing CU, so it's CU2 through CU142, comma. And then we want to do this one here, which is CN, CN2 through CN142. That correlation is okay. Somewhat decent, 0.3, not too bad. Now, we have one little problem here, which is our format frequencies are still too long. Remember I said that you might have to do this twice for the format frequencies, and it looks like we do in this case. So our shortest one is still right here, or right here. It's still 141 long. So just like last time, let's count up how many observations longer all of these are. Well, now they're only 27. So what is 141 divided by 27? Ooh, that's, yeah, 141 divided by 27 is 5.2, which roughly rounds to 5. So we're going to remove every 6th observation. So we're going to create one more new number line. It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6th one. So that equals 1 plus the number that we want to remove, and we go to 7. We're going to drag that fill handle down to the bottom of this long stretch of numbers here. There we go. And we're going to do another indirect observation. We're going to type in the headings again, F1, F2, F3, and F4. All right, equals indirect. Now, the column that it's in goes in parentheses, so it's in column CV, ampersand. We want to use this number line right here in dB, so we want to say dB2 and then plus 1, because this starts at 1 and we're actually in cell 2, so we want to move it up. Now remember, something I almost forgot. This is its own little mathematical operation, so it should be in its own set of parentheses, and then hit enter. We can copy that formula directly, because we're using the same number line. Just paste it in these 3 open cells. I'm going to change it from CV to CW, CX, and CY. Highlight them all, double click the fill handle, check the length. We did it. Amazing. We're 1 shorter than the longest one, which is fantastic. It can be a rounding error. We'll just put it in not as zeros, but as undefined, and when we use it in SPSS, it's fine. It'll knock those cases out on a pairwise basis. So it's not going to affect anything. So this is what we want. This is it. And once you have done this and you've got these correlations, then you can move on to another phrase. Cool. You know what? I changed my mind. That's a lot of work. It would be cruel, I think, to it'd be cruel to undo it and force you to do it on your own. So I'm going to give you 2 Excel sheets. I'm going to give you one with it done and one with it not done. If you feel like you need practice on doing it, then you can. And if you want to just go from here, now that we've got this one done, you can do that too. Okay, so this is what we're doing. And that's just the case for every sheet in here. Remember, in sheet 2, I have this group right here that I started and didn't finish. So I've got the lengths that you need to change written in here, but that's it. I haven't actually gone through and shortened anything. I think it's the exact same length as this next one. Weird. Very weird. Oh, it's not. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing again. Gosh. Okay. I should probably get more sleep. All right. So over here, I've actually done that for you. We got 7.6 rounds to 8. This is the shortest one. These are the same. Oh, I see. This is the shortest one. These are the same length. So every 17th one needs to be removed from both of these. Every 8th one needs to be removed from this one. And every 1.23. So here it's going to be every 3rd is removed again. And then you'll have to do that a second time as well. Okay. Well, hopefully this helps. Hopefully this is a helpful thing to have. Of course, you can email me with questions, and we're going to be talking on Wednesday anyway. So, between this and that and emailing, I think you should be good to go. All right. Then I will talk to you on Wednesday.